Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Doug Sandler. I am that guy, and that guy over there on the other side of the microphone, that is Mr. John Browning. Welcome back to the podcast, John Browning.
Always good to be here. Always fun. Always
Th-
fun
This
conversations.
this is always a good time for us to talk about building your life, not just your portfolio, and
That's
or
right.
maybe instead of your portfolio or with your portfolio. Wouldn't it be great to be able to build your life and your portfolio all at the same time, but building not just a life, but your best life?
You know what? I've often, if I would have changed anything on the book title, I would have just changed it to "and" build your life and your portfolio.
Well,
But I like it. It's fine.
you could always write a second book. You know that,
I
right?
could. I could. Yes, you're right.
So today we're going to talk about why people, and I will include myself in this, why we do things based upon fear rather than things that we want to do or that we enjoy doing. Sometimes we are motivated as much or more by fear than we are motivated by the things that we love in our life. And part of that is dealing with work, dealing with finance, dealing with relationships. So, wow, I just hit the trio right there. Which one of those three do you want to talk about, John?
Oh my goodness. And I'll call it preconceived notions of what is right and true, right? When we haven't necessarily done the real research behind it. We've just heard about it or think we know it, right? And so we literally make big major life decisions based on things we really haven't done the research on, right?
All
We don't
right,
really.
give me an example. It sounds like you have had to deal with this a number of times in your life and your clients' lives, and you've helped them through some of this stuff. So tell me some of the decisions that people make like that.
Probably the biggest one that I hear is I have $1 million saved up for retirement, and there's no way that I can retire on that. I'll never be able to retire. I hear that a lot. And depending upon what you want your best life to look like, what you've decided is your best life, $1 million might be absolutely plenty.
Right, right.
It also might not be plenty, right? It really does depend on that. Let's get together. Let's talk about not just what you want your best life to be, but why you want it that way. And then let's see if we can get there with what you have. If not, let's develop a plan to get you there. And then you get all these preconceived notions like, well, this amount of return doesn't exist, or
Hmm.
this amount of income can't be produced by, XYZ amount of assets. Well, what you find is that there may be some instruments out there, some investments out there that are not crazy volatile that you can handle, that might have much higher returns than you originally thought. So it's not just the asset classes that I'll say most people know about, right? So most people know there's bonds
Hmm.
and there's stocks. There are lots of other things in between and lots of other tools that we can use put together the correct way that can produce something that is really interesting. And maybe that fear that you had that was holding you back, maybe it was unjustified.
Do you find that the fear is oftentimes coming from misinformation that's out there in the world, whether it's through personal contacts, relationships with other advisors, the media? Where are where are these things coming from? Because I would find it hard. I would be hard pressed, other than an advisor, for me to where would I go get that information, or where am I getting that misinformation from?
It is, oh my goodness, there is more misinformation out there than I think has ever been out there before, just because of social media. Guys like me on YouTube are doing podcasts, right? And not everybody that does a podcast and not everybody that's on TV, first of all, we don't know you. Like, I don't know who I'm talking to.
Mm-hmm,
I know
mm-hmm,
you, but
mm-hmm.
I don't know like who's listening. So that's why I always tell people this is not investment advice. This is just opinion and information for you to have. In order to give you actual advice, I got to talk to you and know what your perspective is based on however many years you've been alive and everything you've experienced, but also understand what kind of risk level you can
Right.
manage psychologically and all of that. And the problem is that I just, I get this on a regular basis. Many clients will send me articles from whatever source, right? And there's a lot of guys out there that want to sell you a newsletter. And most of them, not all of them, work on the fear factor.
Mm-hmm.
And they say the world's gonna end. There's a couple in particular that I get their stuff to, right? I got on their list at some point. And every once in a while I'll actually listen to them because they give some good information, but it's tilted, twisted, and really interesting way they put it together to make it tell a very convincing different story than what might actually be true and correct, right? So the world is ending and your retirement savings are going away as of June 6th, 2023. That was a literal title. The most recent one I've seen is by December 26th.
Wow.
The US dollar is no longer going to be available, and Bank of America said so. Okay, this stuff doesn't even I mean, that somebody at Bank of America issued a report that talked about the federal digital dollar, right? I
Right.
mean,
Right.
and then they make it into this thing where you're going to lose all your retirement savings, but I've got the answer for you. All you have to do is pay me $49.99 a year. And by the way, there's more. If you pay me an extra $199.99, then it usually goes up into the thousands, right? And they're so convincing, right? And then there's other things too, like can be anything. It could be anything from the guy on CNBC who really believes in a particular company, but
Mm-hmm.
it might not be right for you or your
Right.
portfolio.
Right.
And if you really follow the track records, they're trying to sell advertisement. They're not bad people. I've talked with some of them. I've been on shows with
Mm-hmm.
with some of them back in ancient history when I used to do that type of thing. And you get calls, generally speaking, if you're an industry professional and they want to interview you for something, you'll get a call. You might get a call 15 minutes before you're on air. And okay, which side do you want me to take? And
Right. Right.
if you're a good analyst, you can take either side. And then
Sometimes
it goes up over the airways. Somebody listens to it and they take it to heart and they say, "Oh, I gotta own that stock, or I've got to sell that stock." Might
fear
not be.
could be caused just by the general news that's out there. I think we chatted about this just for a brief second before I hit record. We were talking about the crypto king, Sam Bankman-Fried, and all of the stuff that happened there. They're just, the Wall Street Journal or the Journal is just reporting, or the Daily is just reporting the news. But tell me that doesn't lead to some emotional knee-jerk response from some investors that, maybe I need to get out of the market. Maybe I need to get out of crypto. Maybe now's the time to get into crypto. Like which way, which way do you even think when something, I think you hear it for what it is. And if you didn't have direct money in his company, good for you, but it doesn't mean the world is going to hell in a handbasket beyond that.
And two, it doesn't mean, this is what bothers me, right? It becomes, and I understand it, I can't trust anyone.
Right, right.
And I get that, right? I feel that way sometimes when I go to the mechanic, it's like I can't trust anybody. I know enough about cars that I can kind of smell out the things that don't make any sense, but most
Right.
people don't, right? That's not their thing. And the same thing when it comes to financial advice. Well, you can't trust anybody because there are bad actors out there, and they're bad actors in every industry, I'm going to say. And it's unfortunate. You kind of have to just listen to what the person has to say. And a couple things that I will say on this, because I think that you touched on a really important topic, or somehow we got here, right? Who can you trust, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna throw this out there. I may get some hate mail on it, but if you're talking to somebody who's absolutely sure, be
That's not the
careful.
guy. That's not the guy.
That's probably not your guy.
When it sounds too good to be true, or too sure of himself, or it's a sure thing. Whenever you hear those words, I just, I take those words with a grain of salt. I do.
Yeah, if you're talking to somebody who's absolutely sure they're correct and they're always correct, if they're always a bull, if they're always a bear, they always think the market's going up, or they always think the market's going down. Well, they're going to be right when they're right,
Right.
right? But that really doesn't do you any good, right? So that's another one that we find commonly out there. I think anyone who only wants to tell you about one set of products, like only mutual funds, only
Right.
annuities, only life insurance. If they're only talking to you about or only Vanguard or only Fidelity or only Invesco or whoever it might be, none of those companies are bad, right? But if it's only that and you're seeing like more than 50% of that fund family in your portfolio, I think you got to step back and
Yeah.
wonder, are they getting a kickback from that? Are they getting some marketing dollars? Because having been in the industry, I can tell you that's exactly what happens.
Mm.
So there's just a couple ideas of when, like Friedman, right?
Right.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was the only thing. And you were an idiot, right? So it was like another people who call you names or call you stupid or call other people stupid because they have certain views. Again, run the other direction on
Right.
people like that, right?
Right. Right.
So it's just that's the kind of thing that you kind of watch for.
Well, and I think that there is a certain degree of those spidey senses that one has as a consumer when you talk to someone and you feel like there is a statement that a universal statement, always do this, never do that. Very challenging when you hear that. And it's the person that is tailor making a program that fits your personality, your style, your future, not their future. And someone that those spidey senses don't go up and you say, wait a minute, I don't know that I believe that. And so if you have that guy on your side, and I feel like John is one of those guys that you could have on your side and feel comfortable, but don't take my word for it. Get on the phone with him. You have the opportunity to have a call with him and his team, and you can figure out if it's something that you want to move forward with. So John, any final words, or and we'll talk about how to get in touch with you. But any final words to say about this trust thing, this fear thing, or don't fear the Reaper? It's not going to be bad. It's not going to be bad.
I'll leave you with this. There is no way that you can build your best life if you are constantly in fear.
Mm-hmm.
So find a way, find someone to help you, if not eliminate, to mitigate the fear. Some fear is healthy, right? We don't want to just, I think I can probably fly. I'll jump off that cliff. That's probably not good. That's a
Okay.
healthy fear, right?
Yeah.
But there is an unhealthy fear. And I think we as humans in general tend to err on the side of having an unhealthy fear. And that holds us back. We don't get to live our best lives, and life's too short for that.
Totally
I'll leave
agree.
you with that.
Agree. If you want to get in touch with John, just text the word life, get out your smartphone. Nobody's got a flip phone anymore, right? Except my girlfriend. She's got a flip phone. I'm like, I don't understand
Really?
why the flip
Oh my
phone.
goodness. I didn't
She
even know
does
they
have an
existed
iPad,
anymore.
but she's got the flip phone too, but she can't do any texting from it. I guess she could, but it's that T9 predictive
Oh,
texting. You don't want to do all that. But if you have a smartphone, text the word life to 321-421-5213. You'll get a series of directions and instructions that follow that text, and you'll know exactly what to do. Or you could simply go to John's website, which is Guardian Rock Wealth, WEALTH at the end of that, guardianrockwealth.com, and just get to is there a contact me page right on that, guardianrockwealth.com right there, or do they have to navigate to it?
right there. So there's a home page. There's some videos there if you want to watch a 1-minute video to explain some of the most common questions. And then there's a contact us page right up at the top. I believe it's kind of in the middle, really prevalent. You'll see it.
All right. So it's kind of like the, as seen on TV. I want my face on your website. How do I get my face? As seen by Doug. As seen by Doug on John's channel. Again, text the word life to 321-421-5213 or guardianrockwealth.com. John, thanks for another great week.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.